Jim Rogers, Chairman of Rogers Holdings, joins us from Singapore once again. Jim, good to have you on the show. Let's start off by discussing the European situation. How do you see the situation panning out, and what are the key concerns that you're monitoring at this point?
Well, I'm delighted to see it. I own the euro, but longer term it's going to be a disaster for all of us, the whole world, especially for Europe, because this is not solving the problem. A year from now, there's going to be more debt in Greece and in Europe. 2 years from now, there's going to be more and more debt. The debt just keeps going up, and nobody addresses the real fundamental problem.
That's a fair point, isn't it? Everyone is trying to simply push the can down the road. Jim, what do you make of the U.S. Fed's latest monetary meeting? And do you think indirectly Mr. Bernanke has hinted at a QE3 because he's committed to keep interest rates low till 2013 now?
There already is QE3. The Fed in early August announced they were going to keep interest rates low. The only way you can do that is to go into the market. You can't just say, I'm going to keep interest rates low. You have to do something. If you get out the M2 numbers, the monetary numbers in America, you'll see that starting the same day that Mr. Bernanke said that, the money supply jumped up, and the money supply has been going through the roof in the U.S. ever since he said that, because they're in the market. The Fed is there. They're lying about it, but they're in the market.
Gottman is predicting gold at record highs in euro terms. Do you still think gold is going to go to about $2,000 per ounce? How would you want to trade gold at this point in time as an asset class or even a safe haven?
I own gold. I haven't sold any gold. I bought some more a week or two ago when it was down some. When gold goes down, I try to act and buy more. If it goes down a lot, I hope I buy a lot more. Gold will certainly go to 2,000. I don't know when it's going to go to 2,000, but I know it certainly will during this decade. Whether it's an asset class or a safe haven is irrelevant. The fact that I own it because I think the price will go higher. You can call that what you will.
Jim, between gold and silver of late has exhibited some resilience. So for someone who wants to pick and choose between gold and silver, which commodity would you like to endorse?
Well, I would prefer silver just because silver is still depressed on a historic basis. Silver is 30% below its all-time high. Gold is 10% below its all-time high. So I would prefer one just on relative value. Silver's probably better. I'm not buying either today, but I'm certainly not selling. And if they go down, I'll buy more.
The base metals have seen a good October. Support also coming in from a decline in inventories, consolidating U.S. economic data, and China buying. Would you turn a buyer in the space?
Well, I own all commodities. I own mainly precious metals and agriculture, but I own all commodities, including base metals. So certainly, I mean, base metals have a huge, wonderful future. People have not been opening many metals mines in the past 25 or 30 years. There's only been one lead mine, for instance, opened in the past 30 years. So base metals have a terrific future.
But Jim, even as non-ferrous metal stocks have posted stellar gains for the month of October, ferrous metals and especially iron ore prices are down by about 32%. Is there a sense in, or do you think it's the right time now to switch out of non-ferrous metals and buy ferrous metals?
I don't really pay too much attention to. There's no futures market in most of the commodities. All the commodities that I get involved with have futures markets, and I'm vaguely aware of what's going on in iron ore and steel and the products that go into it, but I don't pay that much attention.
The Brent and NYMEX crude have seen premium narrow from a record $26 per barrel. Would you see the pattern continuing?
Well, the surprise for crude is that how high the price is going to stay and how high it's going to go. I mean, the world's known reserves of oil are in decline, full stop. The International Energy Agency is going around the world every month begging people to listen, that we're running out of known reserves of oil. I continue to own oil. I'm not thinking about selling it. I know it's going to go much higher over the decade. Now, if somebody suddenly goes bankrupt, if Spain suddenly surprises us and goes bankrupt, everything will go down for a while. But you better jump in and buy if that happens.
Jim, having said that, the opinion for crude prices in the near term is actually split right in the middle. There are 50% who believe that crude will go back to 80. There are 50% who believe that crude will go to 120. What are your thoughts?
Well, it depends on what happens in the world. If, as I said, if Spain goes bankrupt, oil will go to 50. If Iran and Israel go to war tomorrow, it'll go to 200 straight away. It partly depends on what happens in current events, looking around the world. But basically, the shortage of crude oil gets worse and worse and worse, and the price is going to go much, much higher.